안녕하세요. I have a very special Wing Chun class today. Let's go over it exactly. It's a little bit of special footwork. Okay, this kind of goes like this: 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷. And then with the hands, you make like a bird. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm kidding. Actually, if you're wondering why I'm dressed up in goofy outfit today, we have a special Halloween class that we host every year for our class, and I'm running solo right now because Ken all of a sudden got called into work, so I'm gonna have to do it myself. But we are gonna do some stuff on Wing Chun today, and what I'm gonna show you is a particular drill. Actually not a drill, it's a single hand technique development. And first let me make sure I clarify this. This is not my drill, this is my Sifu's drill, and I'm only showing you a partial of the drill. And the reason I'm showing you a partial of the drill is one, it's not my drill, and two, I basically took the main 7 hand techniques that you want to work on that I think you use the majority of times in Wing Chun. Okay, not that you shouldn't practice all of them, but these are the main ones. So first of all, let's go over the look of it. You basically open up in your Ichikima stance, and then you have your Jungsao position, your guard hand position. And a lot of times, let me do the drill first. So the basic ones are Tan, Bong, Lap, Pak, Bu, Jump, Woo. Okay? If I did my math correctly, technically that should be 7. What I want to do is go over the main things to develop from this. A lot of times you see people do punching, and you see them do their hand techniques. You see them go doing Tan, Bong, Lap, and stuff like that. The reality is, when you do this, to make it work is it's all body. And what does that mean, it's all body? Because, for example, when I did the basic drill, hand drill motion, notice you saw what? Tan, Bong, Lap. But let's say I didn't move, for example. If I was not to move, okay, for example, I did Tan, Bong, Lap, Pak, Bu, Jump, Woo. All right? Now, what's the big deal about that? Because when you see me shift and do the motions, it looks like my hands are doing certain things. Like if I do Tan, for example, if you look in the camera and see Tan, a lot of people interpret it as me going backwards with the Tanzan motion. But in actuality, it's not going backwards. All right? So in other words, when I go Tanzan motion, this is actually still going in the forward frame motion. Okay? So, hey, what's up? Or when you're doing this is when you're doing these motions, for example, when I'm doing like Tan, Bong, Lap, Pak, and all these motions, you see the hands changing and you're changing different positions. But the main thing to remember is that the hands at all times is staying in the center. Okay, so for example, when you look at the first motion when we do Tan, and you see me go Tan from here, and a lot of times what happens is when you see it when you look at it in camera, it looks like, okay, from the side perspective, it looks like, hey, he looks like he's bringing his Tanza back, or the structure is actually moving back. But in reality, if I go Tan like this, notice I'm still actually in the center line from this point on. When I go and turn and shift to the side, what happens? Nothing's moved, other than the fact that my body actually shifted in place. That's it. So it's not like I do Tanza and my hand moves off the center line. I mean, if I was to stay stationary, here's Tanza. Look at my hand, it rotates and adjusts to Tanza. If I do the first motion, this stays exactly in the same spot. I just simply shift. Okay, so that's the number one thing to understand when you're doing this, is that the hands are changing position, but at all time it's occupying the center line. And when I'm doing the motions of the turn on each single man technique, when I do Tanza motion, Wangsa motion, I'm covering the center line. So in other words, if I shift here and I go back into the center line, look, notice I'm exactly in the same exact spot. Okay? If I don't know where the center line is, when I do let's say I do Bangsa and I shift out of here and I keep my hand in place and I turn, notice it's actually off the center line. So when you actually see me do the hand positions, Tan, Bong, Lap, always occupying the center line. This is functions as your triangle, this functions as your shield. And in order to make it work, the shield has to be in front of you. Okay, and it's not retracting back. All right, so that's one of the main things you really have to focus on when you're doing the hand techniques. It's called, in reality, it's called body blocking. That's what it means to body block. It's not my hand going like this and chasing to deal with punches and attacks. It's my hand staying in place, and then just from here, I'm staying exactly in place the entire time, keeping it here in shield, and the body's just simply turning. Okay, so that's one of the key things you really want to develop when you're doing the single man technique. So for example, Tan, Bong, Lap, Pak, Bu, Jum, Woo. Okay, that's really key to get the sharp, to get the hands working together. Now, even though I say this is a single man technique, you're focusing on one particular hand technique at a time, the reality is you're working on two hands. What does that mean, you're working on two hands? If you notice, every single time when I did this hand drill, whether I did Tan, Bong, Woo, or Tan, Bong, Lap, or whatever, this other hand was always needed in order for it to function. Here's your triangle, right? Here's your triangle in front of you, okay? Now, imagine here's this triangle, or basically here's this Tanza structure. You have a Wusao here. Now, this doesn't simply stay stagnant like this. For each hand technique, I have to adjust based off how my triangle adjusts every single time. So for example, if I go Tan here, it's not just my hand goes here. Where exactly should this be? To balance things off, to enhance the technique, basically this is called the enhancing hand. Because in other words, you have two hands to make the triangle work. If you simply say Tan and put a Wusao here, you will feel, when you feel it test the structure, it won't be as strong. But if I go Tanzao here and I adjust my Wusao, look where I adjust my Wusao. It's actually in this position here, not here. A little off to enhance the hand. If I do Bangsao, it doesn't stay here. It's actually here to enhance the hand. Okay? I do Lapsao, it's not here. It's actually here to enhance the hand. And if you actually test this out with your partner, for example, play around with that. You have one person in a Bangsao or whatever hand technique, have the person push against it. And you'll be like, okay, I can kind of hold it. Put it here and see, does it feel different? Put it here, does it feel different? Put it here, does it feel different? Put it right here, in this position that I'm holding here, and you will feel the triangle actually function. It's actually two hands functioning to make it a strong structure. Okay? So for example, when I go Tan, I adjust. Bangsao, I'm adjusting this hand to enhance that hand. Lapsao, I'm adjusting this hand. Paksao, adjust. Bu, adjust. Jum, adjust. And Woo, adjust. Every single time. So in the beginning, you may struggle with this because, obviously you're trying to learn the hand techniques, trying to put everything in place. But in time, when you feel more comfortable in doing it, the right hand or whatever hand is the enhancing hand should be there, okay? The way we always talk about it is this is the little brother, but this is the big brother backing it up. You always want to be developing the juggling technique of two hands, okay? And in time, you won't look at it as my left hand, my right hand. You basically look at the base as far as how you make the adjustments every single time. All right, so hopefully that makes a lot of sense. Use this simple hand technique. Someone's punching, do the motions. You can do it in time. You can do something as simple as the guy's punching at you, and you block Tan, Bong, Lap, Pak, Bu, Jum, Woo, and eventually they can punch, and then you can just do Tan, Pak, and just make it random. You just switch the hands back and forth. But the key thing to remember is, once again, you've got to cover the center line. The hands basically stay where? Exactly in the center line every single time, rotating and changing adjustments of lines and angles from that point on. The positioning is being changed. But for the most part, it constantly stays in there, and the body is doing all the motion from that. Okay? If you're struggling with any aspect of the hand technique, then don't do the shift. Just stay here first and feel comfortable with the hand technique. If you're struggling with the shift and the hand technique, then you got to practice the shift. Make sure you're actually shifting in place, properly shifting in place. Because more often than not, if you're struggling and you're going like this with your shift and going off here, got to go back to the drawing board, fix the shift, and then add the hands into it. Okay, hopefully this helped, and let's Gundam style this. No, I'm not going to dance.